Okay, I'm starting the recording now. Drew was asking about how to change your picture, and here it is. Just go to the Zoom.us website, log in, and then /profile. Actually, if you just click on your icon over here, it'll bring up this, and then here you can click change. Well, welcome to week 2. Thanks for working with me for rescheduling for tonight. I was on the road last night, and we got in earlier this afternoon. So it was a great trip, and I'm glad to be back. So as far as grading goes, I'm through the discussions and through the assignment. I haven't yet finished the assessment. I'll finish that tonight. By the way, the deadline for grading each week is Wednesday at noon. That's the deadline. So I'm a little bit late. I've been on the road and traveling with my family. So hopefully from here on, I'll have it done by Sunday night. That's my goal, to have them done Sunday night. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, we went to the fair there at Iowa, and saw all the pigs and the cows and the horses and you name it. And everything fried on the stick. Okay, Kendra just asked a question. So the assignment 2 says to take the comments from assignment 1 to approve, but all I had was basic rubric numbers. Were there actual comments too? Oh yeah. Okay, so Kendra, that's great feedback, Kendra. I was a little bit pressed to do the rubric and get the grading back, and so what I intended to do is go back through and give some recommendations on the and feedback. So Kendra, tonight I'm going to be going back through the grading and just adding some notes. So right now it's just the rubric that I'm using. So just so I can get the grading done. So I'll get to that later. Pam asked a question. Did you see the butter cow? Yes, we did. That was actually the first thing we went to go look for, and the last thing we finally found. So it took us a while to find that. All right, so this week 2 is we're going to take our storyboards and now plan out the audio and visual, or audio track, and any kind of additions we have in the planning for the audio. So this week is titled to organizing your assets. We have the same set of links here as we did last week. Nothing specifically that we're pointing out for you to handle. So so this week, just explain how you use any additional assets and sounds, such as video, music, and or other audio tracks to enhance your self-promotional movie. And so what you want to be talking about in this is either the track of audio that you'll play throughout, and whether or not you might incorporate additional audio tracks like a voiceover, things like that. Then if you could, do a little research on how other professional animators plan the audio track of their animation and give a couple quotes, 2 or more. So this looks great, by the way, Kendra. Nice work. Here we have her response plus two quotes. So in great APA format. So that's perfect. Same here. Good job, Casey. You guys are doing great. Are there any questions about this week's discussion? Okay, we're good on that. Yeah, David, I've been getting your emails. I think I've replied to 1 or 2. I haven't been able to get back to you just because I've been on the road. We traveled from Des Moines last night, and all day. I was at the fair all day yesterday, so I apologize, David. David's moving right ahead, everybody. He's just not letting up. He's already got his week 2 turned in. All right, so here is the assignment for week 2, and looking at it in instructor view here, but it'll be about the same when you look at it. Planning and gathering assets. So here it says, after reviewing the comments from week 1's assignment, basically what she was, let's see, what was it? Kendra was asking about was that, if we just have rubric, what do we have to base ourselves on? So I'll be getting back with comments on everybody's storyboard. So I left the rubric a little bit liberal. If you hadn't noticed, I made things optional, such as listing the audio and visual, because that will be for this week. That was optional. Also, I made it optional to include images or include drawings. I made that optional too, just because I could tell that not everybody got that message. And also I realized that it was just not everybody got the message that the assignment, we tried to make a storyboard with images or thumbnails or drawings. And because not everybody got the message, I made it optional in the grading, because I took responsibility for not making that a little more clear. So, yep, Phil's wanting to ask about strange looks in Friday's class, and yeah, that was definitely an experience. For those of you who don't know what Phil's talking about, I didn't make it to the hotel, back to the hotel, to conduct class in our hotel room with the Wi-Fi, and so I didn't want to cancel or reschedule. We just didn't have time to do any of that because it was Friday night already. So that was just a special studio I had all set up for me. Yep. This week, we're going to meet tonight and tomorrow night in order to have all our lecture time completed before Wednesday night. So create assets. Now, it's a good point here that it's making the text, and this would be any type of verbiage or script that you want to include in portraying your portfolio or your about. This is basically a self-promotional video. So however you want to promote yourself, it doesn't have to be like a animated portfolio. That was me that actually came up with that terminology, and Caroline corrected me. She asked that I just call it the self-promo movie. So so text, and then any kind of verbiage, and also any kind of music, possibly video, photos. You may want to have pictures of yourself, or you may have part of your portfolio, or what you want to present, the fact that you are able to either take pictures or modify pictures. Any graphics that you've drawn, logos, layouts, anything that you would like to portray, and anything else that you are needing to add to your animation. So this is in the storyboard. This is where you would list the items. You'd reference them in each frame or slide. You just would list them, and I'm interested in let's see. I'm interested in an update to. Let me just make sure that because it makes sense to keep your storyboard. I really would like you to retain your storyboard with your submission, just because that helps me put the two together. When I download your storyboard, it's in a different folder. And so I think what I'll do is I'll add that to the instructions here to retain your storyboard in the same folder where your Flash file is, just so that I can have the two together, one as a reference. So I'll add that here after class, that the idea that I'd like you to retain your storyboard in the same folder that you zip up. Yep. Yeah, see this here, what I'd like you to do is just include that right up on your storyboard. About each asset and how it will be used in animation. So if that makes sense, that way you can do number 7 and add it to your week 1 storyboard, just so that it all comes together. That'll work, I think. Okay. Now let's see what questions we have. Yes, Ashley, include your storyboard file in the zip folder. That's right. And it's okay to make changes. Remember, the storyboard was a design, and it doesn't have to, I don't want you to be concerned about updating any information about the storyboard. I'm not going to mark you down for changing. I just need to have both there, and I need to have a place for you to document the usage of the assets, and that will be perfectly placed in the storyboard itself. It's okay, Kendra. I don't need storyboard was week 1, and all I need you to do is this section here where you include the write-up of the assets. And we didn't include that last week. We left that out, made that optional. So I'm fine with that. Yeah, there should be a place for writing things down. And let me see if I can give some examples of the submissions. Let's see, if you see your name here, I can't remember all the people who said it was okay to show their work. Some of you said it was okay, some others didn't say. So let me see here. What I want to do is give you some examples of other students and where it would be a good place to write to include this information. I wrote this, saved. I'm looking for where I put everybody's work. Okay, sorry, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. I wanted to show you some examples of the, it's not the assessment, it would be, I thought it was here. Yeah, I think this is it. I'm having a little bit of trouble here bringing up, I can't remember exactly who said it was okay to show. So I'm leaning.
Hey, Chip.
Yeah.
This is Kendra. Mine was at the very top of that list. You can show it if you want.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Hold on, my screen's kind of reacting here. Thank you. Okay, so here, this is came from the AI template, and right in here is a little description of what goes on in the scene. And this would be a place where you can add text to the assets, and it can be just a couple sentences right in here to describe what assets are going on, and things can be shifted down. In the template that I had last week, there was the PowerPoint template itself had, I thought, pretty good room for doing something like that. Let me show you that template. See, it's in the so here is an example if you use the PowerPoint template, but frankly, there's only just a handful of people who use the PowerPoint template. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a notion of what this means. So right in here, you would have put the image or thumbnail of the storyboard, and here you'd have a place to write in information on your storyboard about the assets as well as a description of the frame. That's an example. You've seen the storyboard master. This is a template that I also showed briefly. I did not include it in the samples just because I already had the AI template that Caroline provided. I provided a PowerPoint template. But this is actually, frankly, this is a pretty good sample of a storyboard, because up here you have the thumbnail, a description, narration, and then the media list. So this would be the section normally. So I just give this to you just to kind of give you an idea of this is really a professional type template. My goal here is just to not make you redo your templates as much as teach you what the professionals use for storyboarding. This one here is an example of 2 frames per page. So you have a thumbnail image of what's going on, and here you have description and then a media list, and here's another one. So this would be 2 per page. So this would be a second frame, description of, and the media list. So this week is what I'm focusing on, this media list and how it's, here you list the specifics of every piece of media you will need. This will help you gather materials before beginning story constructions. It also serves as a works cited list for copyright purposes. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what we're trying to accomplish with this media list. Now, I'm hoping that this helps. Yeah, Phil asks, there wasn't a lot of room for comments on the thumbnail template. Yeah, again, I was honoring the template that the subject matter expert Caroline had given me. All right, looks like other people would be open to me showing yours. Awesome. Okay, good. Okay, let me show some more. And let's see. It's supposed to just pop up right there. There it is. Here's Phil's. You can just introduce a new line and put media and then have everything. I actually don't know if that template would automatically shift things down or if you would have to like select and move it down in order to make room. Here's Drew's. Miranda said we could show hers. You all did such a good job. I think Ashley said it was okay to show hers. I think I got everybody. Looks like the AI was the tool, the template of choice, as you can see in everybody's work here. Yeah, so you'd have to select and move. Did we look at yours, Ashley? Yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah, because there weren't sample images and thumbnails, I just became very just conservative regarding grading, or liberal, I should say. All right. So it sounds like with the AI, what you'll need to do is select and move to give yourself some room. Is everybody okay with that? Those of you who use that template. And just introduce a little bit of space and just put, for example, media, colon, and then if you could just do this right here. Write up, let's see, include a write up in your week one storyboard. Or let me word that in a little bit different, just so let's see. Add a section to each slide of, let's see, add each let's see, add a small media description. I'm just doing this on the fly here just so everybody likes how it's worded. Add a small media description to each slide. Each slide. Of your week one storyboard about each asset and how they use in your animation if you haven't animated yet. Add a small media description to each slide of your week one storyboard about each asset. Now, does the wording of that, is that clear? Could you just kind of give me your feedback? Is that, you know, does that make sense? Small media description to small, add to the description a couple of sentences describing, something like that. Add to the description Sorry, I just need to make sure that this is totally clear. Add to the description of each slide of your week one storyboard a couple of sentences, there we go, describing each asset. Add to the description of each slide of your week one storyboard a couple of sentences describing each asset. Each slide of your week one storyboard a couple of sentences.
Chip, can I help?
Asset and how it will be used in your animation. There we go. I think that's good. Everybody okay with that wording?
No.
No?
I will admit I'm not. Adding a description of each slide of your week one storyboard is...
Add to the description of each slide of your week one storyboard a couple of sentences. Add a couple of sentences.
That would be better.
Add a couple of sentences. Add a sentence or two. Add a couple of sentences to the description of each slide. Let's see, add a couple of sentences to each slide of your week one storyboard describing media and how each asset Hopefully you guys like the wording. Hopefully it makes sense. Add a couple of sentences to each slide of your week one storyboard describe the media, text, and how each asset will be used in your animation. There we go. How's that? Final
You still
answer.
want it to be, you haven't animated it yet?
How each asset will be used in your animation. I'm going to pull that out. Just because that way it makes it clear. It kind of gives it a step to it, and because the animation really hasn't begun, and that makes everybody on the same page. How's that? Is that good? Add a couple sentences to each slide of your week one storyboard to describe the media, text, music, video, photos, graphics, etc., and how each asset will be used in your animation. You may have already done something very similar to that. Pam asked the question, doing steps 2 and 3 are done in Flash. So, do we put it in Flash? Ashley, yeah. Yeah, this is just planning and gathering assets. No animation is necessary. See that? No animation is necessary at this point. Let's see. No animation is necessary. But we will have you just plan out the timings of, you don't have to animate it, but you can just add the space holders, the placeholders in the timeline. So there's just no animation. It's just one image, next image, next image, and so on. Using the timeline. Yep. So we're not animating, we're just putting the image on the screen. See that, number 5? Frankly, if you've included the asset into your library and you've imported it into Flash, number 6 is really not that important from my purposes, because you've imported the asset into Flash, into your library already, or onto your stage. Maybe just imported it into your library. I should talk to Caroline about this because that just takes up extra room, the assets, if you've already imported them into Flash. I'm going to double check. I want to make sure I don't kind of undo something that she's intending. So for right now, let's leave this in here, number 6, and I'll consult with her between now and tomorrow night. And let's proceed as though this is a requirement, number 6. And we'll just work with, and I'll give you a final answer tomorrow night. How's that? Oh, these instructions were written by the subject matter expert, Caroline Norton. Be nice, Phil. Who, I do, Ashley? Mr. Fitz from Pretty Little Liars. I actually don't watch that. Is that a movie or TV or what? Okay. I think we're gonna have a break here in about 10 minutes, and you can guarantee I'm going to be watching a YouTube on who Mr. Fitz is from Pretty Little Liars because I just don't know who that is. Give me a second while I scroll up. Can you leave it to where it was already animated? We don't have to write it up. Oh, David likes that. Okay. Yeah, maybe I went too far by removing that. I'll put it right here. Let's see. No animation is necessary, but if you have time, you can start animating. What is really? Let's see. Put all assets in the folder. If you have not yet begun animating, add a couple of sentences each slide every week, one to describe the media, to describe how each asset will be used in your animation. I'm putting that back. That puts it back to how Caroline had it worded. Let's see, will be used in each asset. If you have not yet begun animating, add a couple of sentences to each slide of your week one to describe. There we go. Hopefully we're all on the same page here. I don't want anybody to be confused. And let's see what this happened here. Okay, there we go. Never say how big the stage needs to be for this in Flash. I just took the default fill. David, tell me what's the size. You know what? Let's talk about that stage size because I see your point. Let's talk about that because I see where David's coming from, where he says that he used a stage size that fit his images best, and I do like the minimizing the amount of resizing we're doing with our images or thumbnails. Tell me, David, what is the size that you ended up using for your stage? I think it's a good point because if you already have images of a certain size that have been created, for example, for another class, and a portfolio of another class, that would make a lot of sense for us to try to accommodate that size. Keep in mind that the images are imported into vector format when we import them into Flash. However, okay, so David did 607 by 469. Give me 1 second, I'll bring it up. Okay, I think we're okay. Okay, Dave. I thought I would have all my extracted folders right here. And they're missing. So why don't I go ahead and I'll stop sharing. You can share yours as, because you're going to be quicker than me having to find yours to share it. Just give me a second while I stop sharing. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. So what David's going to do is he's going to show the size of his stage and how it worked to accommodate the sizes of his images. So if you have already done work using thumbnails and creating thumbnails and resizing it, and I know I've taught other classes where we've done some work. I know that we have, where you've taken your work and you've created thumbnails of certain sizes. I want to take advantage of all that work. So that's why it makes sense to be to make your stage relative to the size of your work. So I'm not trying to be vague. I'm more trying to be flexible to what you're trying to create and the sizes of your thumbnail images that you may have already created and will be using in an animation. Were you going to open that up? I think we're viewing your screen right now. Because it really is a function of what you're planning on doing with the animation, how you're using text and so on. So can everybody see the size of his stage? You see that over to the right? Right there. So that's the size of his stage. So that means that every that his animation will use up that area on your screen. If you have a small screen, it will still use up that same area. Or if you have a large screen, same exact number of pixels. So it's not like Adobe Flash is built to be a responsive design. Yeah, I use the word thumbnail, but I'm probably using that word a little too liberally. And I should say maybe use the word a sample. Yeah, thumbnail I'm using a little bit liberally there. You may think only in the context of where you click on the thumbnail and then another image comes up. But as you know, we can scale that, we can animate it, large to big, and so on. So I agree with you, Phil. It's a function of however large is the image that you're using to represent your work. So here you see the stage. You started your animation already, I think. That is, I love how you're using these other icons to bring in your image. So he's doing what really is not due until the end of next week. So this is not what you need to do and have done by the end of this week. Can you open up the I'm wanting to look at the folders that are there for your layers, how you've got that organized. Each of those are tweens. Each of those layers are tweens of, one's a tween of the image itself, and the other is a tween of the either the Superman or the Hulk. That's and do you want to add anything? You can turn on your microphone if you want. Yeah, you've already published this HTML, correct? I think I saw it there in your folder. Why don't you double click on the HTML and we'll show everybody what it looks like when you view this published in a browser.
Chip, I got a question.
Sure. Shoot.
Okay, if you heard me or not. His images, when they were coming up, I mean, it was pretty cool it was really cool how that looked. But the images were exceeding the stage. Now, if you had that on a browser, wouldn't that be cut off?
Very good question, and that's exactly why I'd like him to bring it up in HTML. What do you think? I just want you to guess.
I think it will.
Okay. And what makes you say that? Just curious.
Well, the stage is supposed to be your showing area. So if you're off, stage left or stage right, that really shouldn't be coming up on the showing area that people will be able to see, in my opinion.
Okay. So, anybody else want to agree or disagree? I'm just putting you on the spot just a little bit. Not really you. I'm actually wanting everybody to weigh in here, because that's actually helpful for me to get everybody to kind of weigh in just to see what they think too. I think it's a great question. You can unmute yourself. Oh, all right, let me see if I can. Okay, Dave, say something.
Okay.
Say something more.
Something.
Okay. Okay, we hear you this time. Okay, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Okay, now what I'd like you to do, Dave, if you would, double click on the HTML. And everybody knows what program's going to view this, right? Everybody knows what program's going to come up. What type of program? Good. Very good.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Here we go. Hey, Phil, what do you think?
Yeah, just like I thought.
That's right. Good. Very good. Good. Okay. All right, now go ahead and you can exit out of that, Dave. Good.
Yeah, it runs smoother in the HTML too.
Okay, good. All right, great question, Phil. And now you see that the stage is centered. The stage is set up upper left there, the way it's included in the HTML that gets created when we publish. All right, good. Okay, now I'm going to ask a question, and that is, what good is the JavaScript file? Everybody answer. If you don't know the answer, just put a question mark. What good is that JavaScript file that we have there? What is it doing? What is it accomplishing? If you don't know, just put a question mark. It's fine. Good. Thank you. I really appreciate when you guys put question marks. There's nothing wrong with that. That helps me know where you are. Okay, because when you put question marks, then it helps me ask another question rather than just getting the answer for one student. So, okay. So I'm going to now ask another question just so I can see if I can give you a little bit of a hint. So let me ask a different question. Where is the dot? And I'll get you the answer to that here in just a second. You know, I'm not going to avoid the answer to that, but I'm going to try to help you come up with the answer yourself, if possible. So where is the .swf file? SWF file. Everybody answer. Where's the .swf file? Go ahead and put your best answer. If you don't know, just put a question mark. If you're guessing, go ahead and write your answer followed by a question mark. That way I'll know. Where's the .swf file? That actually is the one. Okay. The .swf file. Is it missing? Do we need it? Is it missing? Do we need it? We're dealing with Flash here. All right. So there is no .swf because this is either or. When we started off our Flash file last week, we chose the HTML canvas. It's like you're going down a road and you can either go left or right, one or the other. And the left says HTML5 canvas. If you go down that road, then the output is going to be in one format. If you choose ActionScript 3.0 as your file format for your FLA, then that's going to be SWF. All right, let me say that again. When we're creating our Flash files, we choose left or right. Either, in fact, I'll go ahead and let me see if I can share my screen. Thank you very much, Dave. And we're going to take a break here in just a minute.
You might want to mute me too.
Okay. You're muted. Thank you. So here we're at the very beginning. This is like we're going down the road and we're going to choose either left or right. If we choose left, that will enable us to create HTML and JavaScript files. If we go right, then we're going to end up creating SWF files, which require the Adobe Flash Player. You go left or right. In this class, we're going left, period. We are not taking this option. The reason being is because we are trying to take advantage of Adobe Flash's new ability to do HTML output, HTML and JavaScript. So when I asked the question, where's the SWF file? I was kind of tricking you because it's not there because we went left. And when we go left and we do our publish, here we're going to be publishing JavaScript files and HTML files. Oh, let me first go. It already published it. Let me go into publish settings so you can see it. See, JavaScript and HTML. So in this class, we're just going to go this route. So you will not be creating any SWF files. And because you don't create SWF, you won't be needing the Flash runtime, the Flash player. Okay. Well, when you save your file, you should have an FLA file. Okay, yeah, right. There you go, Philip. .fla. That's the project file. That's not the published output file. So, everybody, are you getting what I'm saying? We are going left. Everybody understanding? Yes? We are not going right. We're not going ActionScript 3.0, which creates SWF, which is dependent upon the Flash runtime. Yes? Everybody feeling pretty good about that? If you have any questions, feel free to hang around during our break. Let's take a break. Okay. Thank you very much, Ashley. We're going to stay on for another hour tonight, and we're going to take about a 10-minute break right now. Thank you, Ashley. Okay, so, okay, great. All right, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. And everybody can get up and stretch, get a drink. If you have any questions about what we were just talking about, go ahead and you can unmute yourself. Anybody who wants to unmute yourself, go ahead during our break. We can just go ahead and anyone who would like to unmute themselves, feel free to. We can just talk during this 10-minute break. Yeah, the JavaScript is for animation. That's where it's all taking place. CSS actually has its own animation built into it, but Adobe Flash is not taking advantage of the animation built into CSS. I should say CSS 3. Possibly someday they will output, they'll take advantage of CSS 3 primitives that allow you to do some animation. But right now it's just JavaScript and HTML. Does everybody remember last week when we talked about how Adobe Flash was able to incorporate JavaScript into their program? Does everybody recollect that? It was open source code that they included into their Adobe Flash tool. It's the Create.js open source that I say open source. What that means is it's free. And so they incorporated that, and that's how they were able to quickly replace the output from their ActionScript template files. I say template project files, I meant. So that's how they're able to generate the JavaScript, number one, not only generate it, but also to read it in. So that's what happened. And that's how they're able to they were going down the route of the Adobe Edge platform, and they're still there working on that, but they saw the opportunity to just use the tool, Adobe Flash tool, but incorporate this JavaScript library, and that's how they got to be where they are. Okay, Kendra asked a question. After class chip, I was wondering about the download. Now, Kendra, were you having trouble? I know you've had some challenges downloading Adobe CC, but I thought the plan was that you were getting the DVD sent to you, but I might be confused. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, David. It's all good. By the way, David, I forgot to ask you, I know you're in the Salt Lake area. Well, anyways, message me. You can do it privately. I'm kind of curious if you're in Utah County or Salt Lake County, because I'm in Utah County. Oh, cool. You're not going to believe this, but I am in Linden, just north of you. That's awesome. Yep. I'm literally across the street from Orem. Oh, Kendra, I thought everybody could. Okay, Kendra, you can speak now because I unmuted you. Do you want to share your screen? I can hear you now. Kendra, oh, I did a second ago. Okay.
It's loud here, Chip. I have to have it on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
All right. No worries. Okay, so did you want to share your screen or 2014, 2015? You had 2015 already? Is that right? See, I actually don't know how people got 2015 unless they had 2014 and then they upgraded. But we are not being particular about 2014 to 2015. I haven't actually discussed this with the Associate Dean. We are just interested in you having at least Adobe Flash CC 2014, and that's what's available for download currently. So did you upgrade, or how did you get 2015? Again, don't think that I'm saying that that you did wrong by upgrading. I'm fine with that. I'm just curious what your path getting to 2015 was. Because that download, Mac Adobe CC, that's on your screen right now, that looks like the 2014 download. Now you say both are listed. Maybe you installed 2015 from the website, or yeah, I think it used to be on the same site, but I think they only have you download 2014. Are you getting it to work? The version that you have installed?
I can't get it to work. I've got it downloaded, but I can't get it to work. I got the 2014.
These are cleaner. You've got, so can you bring up Flash and show me what it does?
Is that what it is?
You can just do down there on the bottom of your screen along the toolbar, just double click on the dock the FL one. It says FL right there. Double click on that. Well, that's CS6. Yeah, it's the CC one is actually a little bit oranger. I don't know if you have it installed yet. Maybe you haven't even.
That's what I've been trying to get to work.
Okay. Yep. No worries. Let's see what we can do.
My kids are getting ready for bed, so it's going to be loud here for a minute.
Yeah, this is the right download, and it's the right size.
That's the one that's the 2015 one, but I do have the 2014.
Oh yeah. Okay, give me a second while I've already clicked on it, so let's just give it a second.
It's just being slow to loading.
It's not loading, by the way. It's just unzipping.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to correct you as much as I'm just wanting you to understand that what's happening here on this step is it just is extracting the zip file into its own folder.
I can't get past that point. I always get to that point on either file, and I still can't ever get past that point to get to what I need to do.
See, there's your first one right there. And that's the prop. See, there it is right there. That's it extracted.
I probably have it on too many times.
It's all right. This is fine. It's trying to extract it again here. So I'm just going to cancel that. And then we'll cancel out of this. Are you using I'm just curious, are you using the Mac that you were given to you by the school?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. That's interesting. You
That's what I teach.
You did download this from the school's website, right?
Yep.
Hey, Chip,
Yeah.
you actually have to go into settings in security and tell the computer that it's okay to load that.
Interesting. I didn't have to do this for me. I'm curious to know why you have to do it for you.
I had to do it too.
No, really.
So it's in security up there, yeah. And then go to general. I think,
I am.
and then right there where it says allow apps downloaded from,
I'm close.
where the one says Mac App Store identified developers or anywhere, you have to click on the anywhere one, but you have to unlock your changes. Yeah.
Kendra, do you have your password for your system?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you. Just go ahead and type it in and click unlock. You guys had more tighter security than I did.
Now it should let you download it or install it.
Thank you. Let me check the time. See how we're doing. Oh, we have to. Are we farther than you were before? Have we gotten farther than you did before?
I can't. I'm in class tonight.
Not for that Toy Story up. Look at it.
I can't.
Can I look at it?
Are you ready to click install?
Yeah.
Are we farther than you've gone before?
Yes. I've
Awesome.
never been this far.
All right. Well, I don't recognize who helped us. Go ahead and type that in. Was that Phil?
David,
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
it was David.
Oh, David,
David.
thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I think you're good, okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. All right. I just gave up my remote control, and then I'm going to start the share. You know, that's very helpful because there might be other people who have gotten that far, and it's really good for me to help you out and to even record me helping you out, just because I think there might be other people who've gotten that far or who got stuck too. So I think that's good. So thanks for letting us help you out.
Thanks for helping me out.
You bet. All right, I'm going to mute you, so you're muted again. Now let's get back to where we were. Hopefully everybody's back from their break, and I think I'm sharing my screen. Can everybody see on my screen where it says planning and gathering assets? Is that what you see? Okay, good. All right. So let's now do some of this. First step, obviously, you organize your assets. So we're going to go through this and what it's like. So for me, I've got a folder that I have put together assets. Here I've got, just for an example, I've got 6 images. And right now we're just interested in the timing. So, and everybody can do this. Let me clear my screen from some of these items. I think we're good. Okay. So by the way, sorry. Right here, I've got my laptop right now, and you have all these different workspaces to choose from when you get into Flash. Each of them are different as to what panels are shown. Back in your previous class, you probably were using the classic. You probably were using this one in your previous class, but keep in mind that if you prefer any of these other workspaces, you're free to do that. In this class, I might use just small screen, I may use classic. You might think, well, why aren't we using Animator? And it's a little bit more advanced on some of the things, and so just to keep it simple, I'll either choose classic. I think Essentials is a little bit too sparse, but not bad. But small screen, as you can see, the properties panel and library panel are here. Go into actions. So I'm just curious, what workspace works best for you thus far? Can everybody look and go ahead and open up your Flash and tell me what workspace you currently are using in your work? Each of them have pros and cons. Developer would probably be more the interactive. Central, very similar to Classic. Just a little bit of reorganization. Classic always feels good if you've been around for a while. And as you know, you can create a new workspace and modify these and create your own custom workspace. So let's see what other people are saying about what workspace they like. Oh, I'm doing the assignment tonight, the assessment. Oh, the assessment tomorrow, the assignment tonight. Just the assignment tonight. Okay. Thanks again, David. So Jason uses Essentials, David Classic, Pam Classic. I feel pretty at home when I use the Essentials. Excuse me, I meant to say when I use Classic. Today I've been using small screen. Seems like most people here are using Classic. Okay, so again, this is how you would do the assignment. You start off with, and I'll just close this for now. You start off with File, New, and you choose HTML5 Canvas. We'll leave the dimensions as they are, as well as the frame rate and the background color. And we click OK. Okay. So now we have the base FLA file. You can save that. File, save as. And I think what I'll do is I'll do week 2. Week 1. See if I can drag and drop. I can't. Okay. Week 2. And we can call it see, this is eventually going to become our assignment. So if you want, you can just name it your name, because what we use this week will be helpful for next week. Now, when I click save, am I creating an FLA file or am I creating an HTML file? So everybody answer. When I click save, am I creating an FLA file or an HTML file? Everybody answer. If you don't know, just put a question mark. If you're guessing, put your answer followed by a question mark. Okay, good, Miranda. Thank you for. Okay, Jason and Miranda. Let's start with you, and let's come back here to the Adobe Flash screen. So you are familiar with Photoshop, correct? When you create a Photoshop file, what's the file extension of the Photoshop file that you create? Do you know that? And this is for Miranda and Jason. Sorry, guys. Don't mean to leave you out. I just want to help them figure this out. Okay, good. Now, here's what you need to understand. When you create your Photoshop project file and you go ahead and submit your work, you probably publish in a different file format. What are some example file formats that your Photoshop file, when you submit work to your teacher or to your client and you're in Photoshop, what format is, give me an example of a different format that you submit your work in. Does that make sense? So I'm working on it in my PSD file, but then when I output it and publish it, I create a different file format. Give me some examples of other file formats that you've created from Photoshop. Good, Jason. PDF, great, Miranda. JPEG, PGN. Okay, now you get the concept of a project file in Photoshop and then the output files. You get that concept already. You already understand that. Now let's change gears. How about Adobe Illustrator? When you create an Adobe Illustrator file, what is the file format of that thing that you create to begin with? Excellent. Okay, it's AI. Now, when you go and publish, give me some example file formats that you can publish from using Adobe Illustrator. It's very similar to the question I just asked you about Photoshop. What are some sample outputs that you can create from Adobe Illustrator? Can you think of some? What are some file formats that you can generate and publish from within Adobe Illustrator? Good. It's about the same list. Good. Great. That's right. Okay. Excellent. Jason, Miranda, and Kendra, in the same way that you can publish to these output formats, the same thing is going on in Flash. You have to create a project file to begin with. And then once you've created that and made your changes, you then publish that project file to these other formats. Okay? So in the same way you already understand how Photoshop has a PSD file as a project file, Adobe Illustrator has a project file of an AI. The same thing is true for Adobe Flash. It too has its own project file. And look right here. See that? That is the file format of the project file for Flash.fla. Okay. Good. Okay. How you doing, Jason? Good? Good. Okay, let me ask you this question just to make sure we're all on the same page. The FLA file for Adobe Flash is like what file for Photoshop? Go ahead and fill in the blank. The FLA file of Adobe Flash is comparable to the blank file of Photoshop. The FLA file of Adobe Flash is comparable to the what file of, okay, good, the PSD. Let me say another question. The AI file of Adobe Illustrator is comparable to what file type, what file of Adobe Flash? The AI file is comparable to what? What's its equivalent for Adobe Flash? Excellent. You guys get it. Okay, great. Okay, now let's move to the next question because you got that and you get it now, which is good. So that's exactly what we're doing. Here's a FLA file. Okay, now let's rewind just for a second and remember how we were just talking about how Adobe Illustrator had all these output file formats, and we talked about how Photoshop had all these output file formats. The same thing, same concept relates to the Adobe Flash file. But it's limited to this. Frankly, this is the animation. It has to go to this. But we actually have the opportunity to also create just a JPEG image, but that's only a single snapshot picture of a single frame. So it's a little bit of a misnomer here. It makes you think like you can create the whole thing with just a single picture, but you can't. Here you can. This will create the whole animation. So when we do a .fla and we click publish, now again, keep in mind, let me back up just for a second because we chose this one here. And because we chose this one, we get to publish HTML and JavaScript. But here's a little bit of a crazy thing. If we had chosen this one, it also would have had a .fla file. Now, what we're saying to you is, even though these are different kinds of things, they both are being kept in a single file called an FLA file. But this one can output HTML and JavaScript. This one outputs SWF files. So in this class, we're choosing this one. Remember, both of these are FLA files, but this one can publish HTML and JavaScript. This one can publish SWF, but we're not doing this one. This is the old way. This one will create the SWF files, which will require the Flash runtime. This will create the HTML and JavaScript. So when you submit your homework, you'll have this FLA file that we just created, and then also when we're done, we will click publish, and it will create an HTML file and a JavaScript file. And the output of the Adobe Flash is comparable to you being in Adobe Illustrator and creating a JPEG file, or you being in Photoshop and creating a JPEG or creating a PDF. It's all output. Okay? So, are we good? Jason, Miranda, Kendra, are we all good? Everybody good? Good, good, good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, great. So, step one, we create just the project file. Now, have we created an HTML file and JavaScript file yet? Everybody answer. Have we created an HTML file and JavaScript file yet? Everybody answer. That's right. We haven't, because that comes when we're done and we publish. Good. Okay. So now we've got our stage here. We've got our timeline here. And for this assignment, what we want to do is we want to import to our library, and that will bring them in to our file, the images and the assets that we're going to use. Now, the library is different than the timeline and the layers that are here. This is where the action takes place. This is the library, is where the things that we store that will be involved in the timeline. So now what I want to do is click on File, Import, and I'm going to do Import to Library. And I want to get my images. Let me see if it's going to let me. And I'm going to select all. What I did is I clicked on the first one, and then I held down the Shift key and clicked on the last one, and then I clicked Open. This, by the way, is going to filter all openable formats. Click Open. And as you can see, it brought them in here to the file. Now, what happens if I remove these from this folder? In fact, the way I can kind of simulate that is I'm going to move them from here to here. Let's see, no, not grading. I meant to go to HTML5 and week 2. I'm going to move these. Now they're down here. They're no longer in the location where they were when I imported them. And as far as the Flash file goes, one might think that because we moved them, the Flash file is going to get all confused, because you might be thinking that the Flash file is dependent upon those files still existing over there in that folder. But look at this. Here they are. They're all here. And this is why a moment ago, about an hour ago, I was asking the question as to whether or not in the assignment it really is necessary for us to do number 6. Because a number in doing the import, it literally makes a copy of them. Now, would you say that these files are in bitmap format or vector format, or what would you say? Everybody answer. Are these files currently in bitmap format or vector format? Everybody answer. Yep, they are vector, and that is because Adobe Flash talks vector. So it did a conversion. It took the image and then took an image and then converted it into an internal vector format. That's correct. Okay, Phil asked, shouldn't you create an image folder first with your images first and then send them to the library? Phil, did you mean I create the image folder in the area where my FLA file is, or are we referring to an image folder inside the library? I want everybody to distinguish between what we see here and what we see out on the disk drive, because frankly, when we did our import, it made a copy of the file, which is in a bitmap. It read it, and it changed it into an internal vector format. And so frankly, we could even delete these, and I'm not saying to do that, but these are bitmap files out here, and they're now internal and vector. So I wasn't sure if you meant to say that shouldn't I have created an images folder here, or if you meant to say in my library, should I have first created an images folder here? because I could have done that. I just want to understand what your point was. Yeah, I'm really wanting you guys to understand the disconnect between this file, because this file now, wherever I move this file, it will have its own personal copy of each of these files built into it. And it's a vector. It's in vector format. When we do now, if we do a file and save, right now, the FLA file contains the vector representation of each of these files. So literally, I could delete this folder and this file will be just fine because there's no connection, absolutely no connection between these folders files sitting here. They could be in an images folder, but again, there is no connection between what's now inside this file and what's these files here. Does that shed light on what you were saying? Yeah, no link, no connection. It's all now sucked in. Now we have a vector representation. You know, I didn't show you the file size before we began, but this file now is 3.6 megabytes. Prior to me bringing in those files, in fact, I could show you really quickly the size of a file before. Let's just show you the size of a file here, just so you can kind of see. I want you to see a file. This is like sample file. I'm just going to put the sample file right here in the same folder, just so you can see a correlation between the file sizes. So here's a sample file. As you can see how small it is? 2 kilobytes. Oops. I'm just kind of letting you know. I think I'll go ahead and exit out of that one. Just so you see what happened. Scroll my stage. Right here, it's just 2 KB, the FLA file. And that's 2 KB because I haven't input any images in it. Once I did, now the FLA file grew in size, 3.6 megabytes. You might wonder how big this folder is. Where is it? Get info. 1.8 megabytes. So the folder, the JPEGs alone, by the way, JPEG is a very compressed file format. And so 1.8 megabytes, and now when we brought those files into our FLA file, it now grew it from a very small 2 KB to 3.6 megabytes. So it definitely grew. You might think, well, why is it twice bigger? And that is because it's one thing to just have a compressed, and this is a very highly compressed file format, JPEG file format, but then you need to translate that into vector. Typically, it saves space, and as you remember from your previous class, your Adobe class, these were, every time you used an instance of something, the very first instance was large, whereas any additional instance of the thing that you brought from your library was small. Relatively small. Anyways, let's move on. Let me make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay, good. So now we've got our assets brought into here, and you might have some text. I didn't bring any text along today. I just brought images. So as far as assignment 2 goes, now we've imported our assets into our library, and now we need to do the timings of are, and this, remember, we're going for between 30 seconds and 30 seconds and a minute and a half. So what I want to do is plan ahead. And so each of these, for right now, don't need to be animated, but they will be animated by the end of next week. So I'm looking forward now, and what I want to do, as you know this, each layer needs to be a separate layer in order to do an animation. So let me start off by starting off with, let's say, introduction. I'm just going to do it the simple way. And I'm creating new layers. And then I'm naming them after the asset that I plan to animate on that layer.
Chip, I got a question.
Yes.
There's something in the back of my head that I remembered in one of these programs that we needed to do a folder to have the images in that folder so they would not disappear. But what you're saying is with Flash, once we put the images and whatever into the library, then we don't need that folder to have it as a backup in the file with what we're saving this as.
Right. This becomes its own copy, and it becomes separate. There is no connection anymore between this file here and where it came from. Is that the thing that you're talking about? Now,
yeah, exactly. And thank you, Miranda. I could not remember which program we did that we needed that folder.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was Dreamweaver. With Dreamweaver, yeah, those things are separate. But I want to probably remind you that Adobe Flash allows you to, for example, keep things separate. You have the ability to dynamically load things. You can dynamically load a song, meaning literally the scripting says, now go and open up that file there and bring it in. Now, that's a little bit more advanced, because the way we're teaching it in this class, we're bringing all the assets already loaded into the FLA file so that they're right there. But I'm just letting you know there is a more advanced way where you use scripting to load assets at runtime, and that is an option. If you do that, what you're doing is you're deferring this action of bringing it in. And you can, if you do it that way, you then do leave the file, the asset, on disk, because now you're going to have your scripting open it up and load it up dynamically. So I just throw that out, just that may jog your memory about previous assignments in other classes and Adobe Flash classes where there may have been the separation between the FLA file and some of the asset files. And so I don't want you to get confused, But I do want you to understand that through scripting, you can defer that import and do it like dynamically at runtime for some of your larger media files, like, for example. So that
So
may
what
or
we're
may not be what you were referring to before, but
So what we're doing right now is that all our assets are going to go into the library to work on this flash.
yep, that's our current plan.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the advantages of that, it does reduce the file size when you defer it like that. Okay, so we got those there, created the layers there, and now what we want to do is decide how long we want the introduction. So remember, 24 frames per second means that I could change this down, slow it down just so we can have more on the screen here. But introduction, we'll start off and see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 layers and let's say 30 seconds, so about 4 seconds per layer. And so that would be 4 times 24, that's 96. So let's see, the introduction, start off, click here, and let's see. We've got introduction. I think what I'll be doing on introduction is just something with text. So I'll just click here for now and say, click F5 in order to say, in fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll just put a space holder for right now. You don't have to do any animation or anything. That's good enough. So what I've done is I've clicked here. Oh, let's see, 90. I was shooting for 96. I don't know why I was off. But so clicked here, clicked F5 to fill the frames. And for right now, that's a placeholder for our first frame. Then I'll lock that for now. And I'll turn it off. Come to our accounting frame. And we click here. Can do either right click and insert keyframe, or that's probably what I'll do. Keyframe. Now, let me back up for a second because I really want to begin. See the fact that I've got that right there is what made it think that it wanted to go all the way. So I'm going to remove that frame. That's the default frame, gets created when I create the layer, so I have to remove that frame. So now I can do insert the keyframe here. Oh, I'm missing a step. Hold on. This might take me till get this just right. I'm going to pause recording because I missed a step, and you can see I'm a little bit out of practice on this one step here, and I've got to grab my notes. Hold on one sec.